All right. Well, hello. My name is Derwin. I'm with the organization here, and I'm going to go over with you guys pretty much how to build a life cycle model, which is a very important part of what we do here and how we best help anyone that we work with. So I'm going to go over it in sections. So if you look at my screen here, we have the first part where you put in the client information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through it as I talk about it. So the first step I like to do is I like to put the person's name in. So I'm going to put in, of course, John Doe. Then, of course, I'll put in their age. We'll say this person's in their 40s, so we'll say like 45, right? Now we're going to go ahead and move on down to their spouse. Typical spouse name, we're going to put Jane Doe, and they're the same age, 45. And all the information that we get to build these models, we get this information from our CFQ appointments or confidential fact finder questionnaire. So that's where all the information is based off of. Usually everyone has their own kind of way of doing it, whether you take notes, you fill in a type of packet that we kind of give people like a skeleton of or an outline of. And so that's where all the information comes from for this. So if they have any kids, of course, you put those in, you give their names. So we're going to put Mary Doe, and we're going to say their kid is 17. And they'll have a brother. His name will be Timothy Doe, and he'll be 11. Okay, now we're going to come down, go down to the client occupation. So we're going to say this person is a dentist. All right, and we're going to put in their income. And once I put this income in, you'll see it drops down to the total income, which is down a couple little blocks. So we're going to put in they make about $150,000 a year. And then for their spouse, we'll say that they are a engineer. And we'll put their income as about $200,000. Now, if you see here, when I input that information, their total income is combined, and that's why that's right there. So the model calculates everything for us, which makes it a really stupendous tool for us to handle these financial appointments that we take with people. And for other income here, I usually like to put, like if they have rental property, if they get like another part-time job of any kind, that's when I'll put this here. For now, I'll put rental income. So this means they have rental property of some sort that they are receiving rent payments from. So what we want to do is, I like to do, it's pretty much based in Excel. What I'll do is I'll do equals, if they're receiving about $1,600 in rent, what I'll do is I'll put 1,600 times 12. Because the model is based annually, it's not based monthly. And we go ahead and enter. The wonderful thing is, it does the math for us, takes all the math out of it for us, which is a fantastic thing. So now I'm going to head on over to this blue circle here. Now, this blue circle is where we put insurances of any kind. We usually focus on, if it's life insurance, long-term care insurance, we put that here. So the client contribution, this is where you would put their annual payments. So that's sitting $8,000 a year, and they're doing, let's say like MetLife, life insurance, it's a whole life, so we'll put WL, and then we'll put the amount. So $, and the amount that we're putting is going to be their death benefit that they're going to get. So we'll put $500,000. And so whole life usually has a cash value, and this cash value will get calculated at the bottom of the model, which we'll go to at the end of this. So the cash value will put $30,000. And I like to work a little bit, kind of like if I hit enter, I like to go on to the next one. So I'll say like, oh, their cash value for the next one is going to be $15,000. And once again, it'll be MetLife, WL. But this one's going to be $250,000. Right? And so their contribution is going to be $5,000 a year. Now, to distinguish whose is whose, what we like to do is, what I forgot to do is here, we'll put DB, which is death benefit, underscore. Now, the person this policy is for. So if it's for John, since they both have J names, I'll put J-O. And then for Jane, we'll put underscore JA. That way you can distinguish whose is whose without having any type of conflict on it and we get confused by it. We want to make sure that this is working for us and not against us. And when it comes to term life insurance, we do the same thing. So for example, here I'll put annual contributions of $250, and then we'll say like, let's say, once again, we'll stick with MetLife, TL for term life, and we'll put its coverage of about 50,000. And as always, we'll put DB, JA for Jane. All right, and then we have a little section here for legal documents. You can use the left or the right side. So the left side here, I can put they has will. Indicating they have a will. This doesn't calculate anything. It's just a way of documenting any legal documents they have. Like if they have a will, you can put has will. You can put plus trust if they have a trust as well. And if you look right here under the legal documents arrow, this right here has calculated their contributions for life insurance and how much they're paying a year in total of everything else. On the right side here, the cash values, these are calculated much later on. So now we're going to go down to the yellow section here. So if you see here, we have client contributions, employer match, additional deposits, description. So this is the bank accounts kind of section here, this top third portion of the yellow section. So I'll put savings. Now for savings accounts, this is when we get into the percentage rates for everything. So for savings accounts or CDs, those percentages are usually around the 1% to 2% area. They change every year. I know for sure that this year what happened was when 2020 came into, we had a change in the savings and CD interest rate. Went from 1.75% to 1.44%. So it's a little bit of a drop, but just for average means, we always put 1% as the rate. So first we put in the current value. So we'll say in savings they have $25,000. No need to put the dollar sign or the comma. That automatically populates for you. And we'll put 1% interest rate right here. The percentage happens. You don't have to put that. Just put the number 1. And we're going to go down. This future value changed because of the projection. So we're going to fix that later on, and I'll explain all that as well as we go forward. And then we're going to put CDs. So we have multiple. So let's say they have 3 CDs. This is when the benefit of this being an Excel sheet comes into play. So you do equal. And then we'll say they have 1 CD for $2,000 plus 1 for $10,000 plus 1 for, let's say, $6,000. So instead of you having to do math, let the model do it for you. You go on over, it calculates all that for you, and you can see in this top formula bar here where my mouse is, if there's anyone that you missed or anything like that, you can also hit plus to add additional, anything like that, once you've already completed that little equation there. Interest rate, as always, we're going to put 1. We can do checking accounts as well here, but those don't have any value, so we'll put checking. And these all vary because checking accounts always fluctuate. People spend money from there most of the time, so it's not that important. But if it's information, we want to input it as well. So we'll say they have about $10,000 in checking. No interest rate because checking is revolving. Not everyone has a high yield checking account, so we want to be wary of that and what type of checking account they have. Now, when we go to retirement accounts, this right here is where we get into the IRAs, where it's traditional Roth, 401ks, TSPs, 403bs, anything that's qualified money, right? So we'll say that John Doe has a 401k, and of course underscore JO. We'll say he has about $500,000 in there, right? And the interest rate for these is 5%. And it's just a standard average kind of 5%. We don't want to, overcomplicate things. We're going to keep it simple and give a general growth rate percentage. So I'll put 5 here. And so also John Doe has a leftover 401 from his previous job. So we'll say that's about maybe 10,000. And then we'll put old 401k underscore JO. And as you see here on the right side, let's scroll down. You'll see that the right side here has the future values as well based on the percentages. So now we'll put the accounts for Jane. So what we'll say is she has a TSP, which is a thrift savings plan, which most federal employees have. And so we'll set TSP underscore JA. We'll say she has 800,000 in there. 5%. Now, TSPs, they have Roth and they have traditional that they can use. So sometimes people have it split up. So what we'll do is, for posterity's sake, we'll say that she has a Roth TSP as well, so that we can show that the difference. All right, so we'll put JA for Jane, and her Roth TSP, let's say she has 100,000, and then that 5%. Now, with people's TSPs, people usually can, contribute to these. So what I will put here is what she's contributing. She says that she's contributing what? Let's say she's contributing about 12% of her annual salary. So what it equal 200,000 times 0.12. So $24,000. And with these, the government matches a maximum of 5%. So we'll do the same thing. 0.05, because 0.5 would be 50%. So there we go. So now we have their contributions. And then we'll go on down. Actually, this is a mistake here. So the mistake is that the government doesn't contribute 10,000 Roth. They contribute 10,000 traditional. The government only contributes traditional money. So we'll put that 10,000 here on the traditional that they're matching. Okay. Now the others, this can be just where if you run out of space here in the retirement account section, you can put more here. So if they have any leftover IRAs, or they have IRAs that are independent from their retirement accounts, we can put those here. So we'll say that John has a Roth IRA, of course, JO, and he has about $55,000 in it, and of course 5%. Okay. Now when it comes to 529 plans, stuff like that, that's not really a part of the model in a major way, we'll put those here. So what I'll put is 529 plans, and I'll go on to the next block and I'll put a $, and I'll say it's $50,000. That puts the comma there for me because I put the $, specifying that it's currency. So that's where I usually put the 529 plans, because it doesn't really contribute to the actual model as a whole. Okay, so from there, I'm going to go back over here. We're going to go into the green circle. This is where once again, we will input bonds, since this is the bond section. Okay, so let's say they have U.S. bonds, and those are worth about $10,000. Once again, 5%. Okay, this is where we get into the non-qualified money. If they have any type of Charles Schwab account, any investment accounts, whether it be an app like Stash or Acorn, we put that information here. So we'll put Schwab, and we'll say it's a joint account. So we'll put JTWROS. And if you don't know what JTWROS means, it is joint with rights of survivorship. And we'll say this Schwab account is, we'll say it's at $155,000. 5%, because all things get 5% except for savings and checkings and CDs. Okay. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to go down to real estate. So usually what I put is, if I'll put primary for their home that they live in, and we'll say it's valued at about $450,000. This doesn't get an interest rate because it's property. All right, and then we'll say the rental property is worth about, we'll say it's worth about $200,000. Okay, same thing there. Now, one thing here, you'll see there's negatives here where it says total cash assets. So it says this because we didn't put an age for when they're projected to retire. So what we'll do is we'll go to the top of this. In this top right corner, it says projected to age. We're going to go right to the right of it, and we'll put an age that they want to retire at. And you get this information from the first appointment that you have with the client, where you pretty much get all the information from them, the basics, when they want to retire. So John and Jane Doe say they want to retire at the age of 65. So we'll put 65, and then we'll hit enter. All right. Now, if you see here, the future values have became increased by 5% or 1% based on the time of the first person's age. So since John Doe is the first one that has in the client spot here, it is based off of their age, not their spouse's. So that's one important key thing to remember. The model is based off of the first person's age to their projected to age. So we'll see here, the negatives are gone. We have accurate projections of 5% increase of a growth rate over 20 years. So if we scroll down here, you'll see that the total cash assets has become an accurate number based on all of the information that we have inputted. So now that we've covered the circles, we're going to go ahead and head over to the retirement income projections, which is right here in this little yellow box here. This is where we would put, if they're receiving a pension, Social Security, stuff like that, we would put that here. And once again, these are annual numbers. So if they decide to draw Social Security at 62, we would put, I'm going to go up here, it's a lot easier than erasing the whole thing. We'll put Social Security, we'll put John's Social Security at 62, right? So if he's going to get $2,000 a month from Social Security at 62, we'll put equals 2,000 times 12. And then we'll put Jane's Social Security at 62. And we'll say she's getting $1,000 a month, so it's 12. All right, and now if they have any pensions that they're receiving already, which I doubt that they are right now, we'll leave this blank, but we'll put this information in if we have that information. So that's what we'll put in there. And then this 4% withdrawal rate from cash assets is 4% of this total number here. And this is how you get the total retirement income projection here, which would be what you would explain to the client and be like, this is what you're looking at to get annually from your retirement when you retire. In this box down here, this is where we put any type of liabilities or debt that they have. So we'll put M for mortgage. Their monthly payment and interest, we'll say they're doing about $1,800. Remaining balance, their principal, we'll say it's about $336,000. And their interest rate, we'll put 3.2%. And months left to pay, we'll say they have 16 months left to pay. And then shorthand, so their credit card debt, we'll put CC. Monthly payment about $500, and they have about $8,000 in credit card debt. Interest rate can vary, so we'll say about 12%. Months left to pay. If you don't have a number, you can always estimate or leave it blank. Since they say they're going to pay this off, we're going to leave that blank. Okay, and now we're going to go and we're going to put in SL. SL means student loan. Since this box is small, we don't want to put full words in here because it can definitely look a little wonky when you print this model out or you show it to the person that you're working with. So their monthly payment, we'll say it's about $1,100, and they have about $50,000 in student loan debt. Now this section over here, the loan, the debt, the liability section, this doesn't affect the total cash assets. Okay, so now we're going to scroll back up to the top here. We're going to make sure we have inputted everything. We're going to make sure that everything's accurate. So I see here that we missed this little first top third section of the blue circle, so I'll go over that now. So you want to go ahead and put John's Social Security. There's a space here, so you don't have to actually erase this. You can just put it right beside it, and then we'll put Jane's. Now, you get these numbers from their Social Security reports that you would receive as a part of the documents you would ask for them to review to build their financial projections. So at 62, we said that he would be getting 2,000. So equals 2,000 times 12. And this one says 67 because the full retirement age, or FRA, on Social Security statements is usually like 66 and 7 months. So it says 67 here. So that number is going to be higher. So we'll put 3,000 times 12. And 70 is the maximum age you can wait to draw Social Security. So we'll put 3,700 times 12. I'm going to do the same thing for James. We said 1,000. And then we're going to do this. And then we're going to do this. Oh. All right. And this gives you pretty much continuity between this information here and then this information down here. So it all makes sense. It all adds up. They can see their information there based on the fact they want to start drawing Social Security at 62. It reflects that there as well. We want to give a full and accurate description of what they're doing. And so a lot of the good things about this is that it gives you a great overview to share with the client as you're meeting with them. You can show it to them. You can edit it with them. If they have any new income, you can input that, change it around so they can see that live and in real time. So let's see here. One of the general questions that people tend to ask is, why are my calculations off? Why are things not looking accurate? The main answer is, have you put the age in? Because without this, the numbers are completely wrong. Because if you're retiring in 20 years, why do you have less money if it's growing at 1%? Why are these negative? Or, why is this negative? So that's why we want to make sure we put that age in. This is great for tracking progress over time and progression because we save various copies of these. That's what we should be doing. We should be saving various copies of these so that we can make sure we're keeping a record of their progression in their financial journey while working with us. Another great thing about this is you can upload this into any CRM that you use, and you can have a record of it. If your computer ever breaks down, anything like that happens, you have that record of it there. Let's see. And then if you see that you have some issues or if numbers are inaccurate, you always want to double check that you have the right information inputted. So if a client says, I don't make that monthly, you always explain to them this model is an annual projection of what you'd be getting a year. Okay, so a good general tip is that you want to make sure you get every financial document possible from the client. We usually ask people for any retirement account statements, Social Security statements, any non-qualified or investment accounts, Social Security statements, so we can definitely look at that. You want to personalize it. You want to date it. And the date section is at the top here. So we'll put in today's date, 05/20/2020. And that's the date of the appointment. So we'll put that there. So you want to save your work as you go. So we'll save this as Doe Model 5/20/2020. I put the full year when I save things because since it is 2020, the numbers do match. You can confuse it easily if you just have 20 at the end, and it can be 2019 or 2012 for all we know. So it's a great thing that you can pretty much use for everything. It's really great to have. I think it's good to have a dedicated folder specifically for your models as you build them, and especially as you're building your clientele and having your base, it's good to have models to look back on and compare, especially as time grows. So that is all the information I have. I hope this has been very helpful for everyone. I thank you so much for participating.